Denver Broncos are linked to multiple game-changing wide receivers who could push this team to the Super Bowl next year. We're going to break that down, where Vance Joseph is definitely not going, and how the Broncos will use free agency, the draft, and trading to add pieces to this team to make them playoff contenders next year and making deep playoff runs. If you're new to the channel, I'm a diehard Denver Broncos fan coming out of my slump after losing to Buffalo, and I'm feeling good about the season next year. It helps me in the YouTube algorithm out a ton if you like the Broncos as well, if you would like and subscribe. So as we talk about the dominoes that fall and how the Broncos are going to use free agency, the draft, and trading to add those pieces, Sean Payton said that we matched up really well with the Chiefs next week. We all know that's true. And he said we even matched up well with the Bills this week, that if it was not for a missed field goal, we're tied at half with the Buffalo Bills, who beat the number 1 seed Detroit Lions, who beat the number 1 seed Kansas City Chiefs. We are just not that far off. And so Sean Payton is going to use everything at his disposal with those 3 different moves, free agency, draft, and trading, to get those pieces in place so that next year we are watching Broncos. We're not just watching other teams. But first, it's important to know, where are we not trying to add any talent? And it is so encouraging to see the rest of the NFL kind of applaud us and give us our flowers for the players that everyone's like, whoa, we didn't see that coming. And so the Broncos have the 4 best players at their position, with all pros at cornerback, which we knew, Pat Surtain, with Nick Bonito as an edge rusher, with Quinn Meinerz on that line, and with Marvin Mims as a special teamer. And hopefully we continue to see more and more of him as a standout wide receiver as well. Also great to see that this week we also have one of our rookies who wasn't even heralded that much this season, just get major props and make the all-rookie team as a rookie, which is amazing. He also broke a bone in his body and his shoulder in that last game against Buffalo, but he is going to be ready to play when it comes to training camp, off-season workouts, all that stuff. And that is Jonah Ellis. And so our pass rush is going to continue to be dirty. I think defensively we are in very good shape, and anytime you have a guy who was picked at the 76 overall, your 3rd round draft pick, showing up as being the best rookie at that position, it's a phenomenal thing. So when Sean Payton talks about every single player in this year's draft, they had at least 2 grades above where they ended up falling to them. And so it's no doubt here that they thought Jonah Ellis was a 1st round draft pick, and he fell to the 3rd. They felt great about Troy Franklin, and he fell to us. They felt fantastic about Audric Estime, who fell to us. They felt great about Devon Vele, who fell all the way to the 7th. And so it is a very exciting time in Denver for sure to see that. So really the pieces that they have are 1 or 2 pieces away. I think it is 3 positions on the offensive side of the ball. It's going to be our running back position, our tight end position, and our wide receiver position. And so it is now up to Sean Payton and George Payton and David Shaw truly to be evaluating the draft, evaluating the entire NFL, and saying, all right, what's our best avenue to go get an amazing running back? What's our best avenue to go get an amazing tight end, to go get an amazing wide receiver? The Broncos, it came out on multiple sites today that the Broncos are not expected to re-sign Javonte Williams. So he is going to be leaving. So you are left with Jaleel and Audric Estime there. The fact that in that Buffalo Bills game, Audric Estime did not even suit up, that he was a healthy scratch for that game, and they played Tyler Bidet, maybe lets you know what Sean thinks about Audric Estime, or maybe it was just the game plan there. We know how much Sean loves Jaleel. He's the first in the building all the time, but I think that is a position that the Broncos probably need to upgrade this offseason, knowing what Sean wants to do, especially with the Joker position. And when you look here, the different avenues to go get a stud running back, you don't have a ton of running backs on the free agent market that you're like, oh, let's get him. I can't wait to play him in Madden. You remember last offseason, Saquon Barkley, he was available, and Derrick Henry was available, and Josh Jacobs was available, and you had all these dudes who were game-changing running backs. And when I look at the running back free agent class, I'm not seeing any of those names pop out. Seeing guys like J.K. Dobbins, and we saw what happened when the Chargers relied on him. He was great when he was healthy for a couple of weeks, and then just could not continue that workload. Kareem Hunt, when he's that high on that list and was just even out of the NFL a couple weeks ago, you know it's not a fantastic list. Seeing Alexander Mattison, who couldn't even get it done with the Vegas Raiders despite them really needing that position and him getting adequate shots at it. Really, Aaron Jones is the only one on this list, and the fact that the Packers moved on from him so willingly, and that he was playing for an offensive genius with a fantastic tight end, with a fantastic wide receiver. You wonder how much of his success was schematically, and if the Vikings are letting him walk for nothing, it speaks a lot to Aaron Jones. So I think the Broncos really could find a amazing running back in the NFL draft, and that doesn't have to be something that you do with your overall number 1 pick. Ashton Jonty, everyone's saying like, man, if he falls to 20, you got to take him. We talked about how Sean Payton doesn't actually think that there's going to be a running back, like a single horse running back, that he wants to do running back by committee. So I'd be very surprised if we ended up using our first round draft pick on him. But you're looking here, and NFL scouts are saying that you could have 10 running backs selected in the first 2 rounds. That's something we have not seen in the NFL for a long time here. But looking at, like, we've seen what Etienne's brother does with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and he's, was an early pick in the NFL draft and has lived up to the hype at times. And so you could have him fall to you in the second round. So I think the Denver Broncos are going to use the NFL draft and a late round pick, second or third round, to end up finding a running back. But we have a ton of mock drafts, and we're going to be breaking these guys down and how they fit. The one that's like crazy, crazy exciting is, what are the Denver Broncos going to do at the wideout position? Watching Jaden Daniels go out and do really cool things with McLaurin and all of the talent that he has there. Just seeing these quarterbacks put up these, Star Wars type numbers because they have fantastic wideouts makes me really, really jealous. And so what are we going to do to address the running back position? Is that one that's best served in the draft or in free agency? Well, the Broncos have been linked to multiple stud wide receivers who are available currently in the NFL right now. The one that is getting a ton of buzz is hearing all about Cooper Kupp. We remember early on in the NFL season, you heard Sean McVay come out and float that even at the trade deadline, Cooper Kupp was available. And we've seen like what Ladd McConkey, as a really talented route runner, talented slot receiver, has done for Justin Herbert. Could a position like Cooper Kupp coming to Denver, like, would that make sense? And how does that land with you, hearing that Cooper Kupp probably is not going to be playing with the Rams next year? And so would that be a cut for the Rams salary cap wise? Would that be a trade for the Broncos to go out and get him? That could be a really exciting addition. Next one that I think has me crazy hyped is Deebo. Deebo is the definition of a joker, which is what Sean Payton wants, a player that you can have in the backfield, actually hand him the ball. You can flex him out. We tried to force that sometimes this year with obviously Marvin Mims, and when he was back there, like, it never really was a threat that he could actually have the ball in like I form, like an I formation, that you would actually truly hand him the ball, whereas Deebo, you do. Deebo being cut would probably be a sign from the 49ers that, like, culturally he has really tanked that locker room. He is a diva personality, but I think Sean Payton is that alpha male who looks him in the eye and he backs down. And so I think that if any coach could get the reins on a Deebo Samuel, it would be Sean Payton. And man, if he's cut and is out there as a free agent, like, watch out. That could be absolutely wild. We also know Broncos have really good relationships with the 49ers front office and have executed a ton of trades all throughout my history. Like, John Lynch is very tied in with the Broncos front office. And so if it makes sense there for the 49ers, this could be a landing spot for him. Next one, obviously, another huge NFL free agent wide receiver is Higgins. And this picture set the internet ablaze. Was after the Cincinnati game. Bo Nix and Higgins don't have a ton of history. They didn't play together in college or anything like that. And so seeing Bo Nix talking to him with his mouth covered after that, what else could that be about? And so there's a lot of talk there. And then lastly, knowing that there's a lot of talk that the Broncos would also maybe be a target for going out and get Chris Godwin. We know Sean Payton is very familiar with him coaching in the NFC South for all those years. Might that be a good fit? So those are kind of the free agent or cut candidates or trade candidates that the Broncos might target and who they've been linked to. Which of those dudes would have you the most excited? Or do you think the Broncos should use a early draft pick, like a first-round draft pick, on a player who has the exact same nickname that Sean Payton first popularized with Michael Thomas, and that is Slant God, a wide receiver we saw on full display last night, who I think is a great fit because he's not only like the leading receiver for Ohio State, he also is one of the better downfield blockers, which we know Sean Payton wants a blocking wide receiver. That's why Lil Jordan Humphreys stayed on the team as long as he did, and that is Emeka Egbuka, and he is termed now the slant god of college football. And knowing that Sean Payton truly popularized that phrase with Michael Thomas, they're very similarly built and size-wise, so that could be insane as well. Then there's the entire chat about like tight ends, and should the Broncos go out and get the tight end from Penn State? And so let me know, like, first round draft pick, would you rather get a game-changing wide receiver, a game-changing running back, or a game-changing tight end? We've got a ton of content on that to come. Last thing we got to get into quickly here, because it is a domino falling for sure, and that is Vance Joseph is not going to be the head coach of the New York Jets. They ended up offering the position to Aaron Glenn, the Detroit Lions defensive coordinator, which means that really the only position left open for Vance Joseph, while he still could be at the Saints or the Cowboys, he hasn't interviewed there. The position left would be the Vegas Raiders. So it's down to Pete Carroll and Vance Joseph there. Again, the upside of that is the Broncos get two third-round compensatory draft picks for Vance Joseph if he goes there. So let me know in the comments what you think of all that. These dominoes falling have me wildly excited about next year, because we are just a couple players away. Cannot wait to be breaking it all down all offseason long with all y'all. And we've got a ton to believe in. Oh, I was so lined up on that.